Hello, this is the Political Forum show for Wednesday, July 18th. Today we welcome Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle. Thank you for appearing on Political Forum.
Thank you for inviting me.
President Preckwinkle, I'm Carolyn Day, a board member here at CAN TV, and you're watching a live interactive program brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. Be sure to tell your friends that they can also watch this show online at cantv.org/hotline. We welcome your questions and comments for Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle by calling us at 312-738-1060. During the next 25 minutes, we'll try to get in as many of your calls and questions as possible on the air. Here's the contact information for Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle. She can be reached at 118 North Clark Street, 312-603-5500, Cook County, Illinois, cookcountyil.gov, and also at Twitter at Toni Preckwinkle. So we have lots of topics to discuss.
Okay.
And so we just want to let you just jump right on in. And we first want to talk about the free events and things that are happening in the county for families.
Well, the Cook County Forest Preserve District is 70,000 acres, 11% of our land, and there are lots of free activities for families to enjoy this summer. Hiking on our trails, visiting our nature centers where young people can see turtles and snakes and raptors, and camping. We have 5 campgrounds, and we also have a zip line course in the Forest Preserve. So we're trying to attract lots of new people who may not be familiar with the preserves to come out. There are lots of family reunions and picnics in our forest preserves, but we want people to enjoy the full breadth of programming and activities that we offer.
And so these campgrounds and zip lines are throughout the county. What are pretty much the boundaries so people won't just think that there's just only one forest preserve?
Well, 11% of our land is in forest preserve. It's 70,000 acres. So it's kind of an emerald ring around the city of Chicago. There are not a lot of forest preserves in the city, but 15 or 20 minutes away from most folks in the city, you can be in a forest preserve.
Great, great, great. So now is the zip lining all over?
There's one zip line course, and we're actually working with the provider to see if we can have a second one.
Okay. And the campgrounds, do they include RVs or?
Well, you can do tent camping, you can hook up your RV, or you can be in one of our cabins.
Great.
And in a couple of our campgrounds, we also have bunkhouses, so you can have a large family reunion and have a whole crowd.
That's good. That's good to know. Thank you. So also we want to talk about the Cook County Hospital. We understand that there's a redevelopment now?
June 12th, we had the groundbreaking for the redevelopment of the hospital. We opened our new Stroger Hospital in 2002 and closed the old Cook County Hospital. So that was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we are beginning a process for redeveloping the old Cook County Hospital into hotel space, into office space for our health administrators and our hospital personnel, and also ground floor retail.
Hotel space.
Hotel space. So there'll be a short-term stay hotel, a long-term stay hotel, and then office space for our health and hospital system.
That's great. So we understand that you want to let us know about a policy roadmap.
Yes.
Okay.
When I was elected in 2010, we had a plan, kind of a transition plan for what we wanted to try to do. But since then, and that was 7.5 years ago now, we haven't gone back to our residents and kind of talked to them about what it is they want the county to be doing. So we've had meetings across the county for the last 8 months, and we've encouraged people to participate online. And we're talking about how to make safe, thriving, healthy communities in Cook County. And we hope to have a report ready at the end of the summer for comment, and then release our final report in the fall, which will provide direction for the county government for the next 4 years.
That's great. That's really great. It looks like we have a caller.
Good.
So, caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. Miss Preckwinkle, I used to drive the CTA bus, and I remember picking you up one time, getting on my bus, and you actually talked to me, took the time out for about 30 seconds. I was so taken aback from that you can never do anything wrong in my eyes. But let me say this about ex-prisoners. Why can't we get enough money for them to open up a little school, or even a prison before they get out, a trade school? So this way, when they do get out, they'll have a job waiting for them, instead of the old walking on the street, getting in trouble. Wouldn't that be a better idea?
Well, I think we need to pay attention to what happens to people who are returning to our communities after having been incarcerated. And thank you very much for for being my bus driver. When I was alderman, I took public transportation a lot downtown, the number 6 or the number 2 bus, and sometimes the Metro. And I'm grateful to have encountered you. I think it's really important that we focus on the fact that people are going to come out of prison. The overwhelming majority are going to come out of prison. We've got to figure out how we can provide service to them so they can be productive citizens when they return to our communities. And that's a real challenge. The prisons, however, are operated by the state, and so it's the state's obligation to try to provide services to our prisoners. The county runs a jail. The people in the jail are people accused of crimes, not convicted. The people in our prisons are people who have been convicted of crimes. And so in our jail, we're in a little different situation. And our goal, frankly, when we look at the jail, is to try to reduce the population of people who are accused of nonviolent crimes, who are awaiting the disposition of their cases in the jail. Our belief is that the overwhelming majority of these people are not a danger to themselves or the community, and we can safely have them be in the community, going to work, going to school, supporting their families, while they await the disposition of their cases. And we've, in the last 5 years, we've focused very strongly on this nonviolent population of the jail, those accused of nonviolent crimes. We've been able to reduce the jail population by 40%, and I'm grateful for the good work of all the stakeholders, the chief judge, the state's attorney, the public defender, the sheriff, the clerk of the court, for their good work in trying to make that happen. But I agree with you. The state needs to focus on preparing people for returning to their communities while they remain in prison, so that when they come out, they have a skill or references for jobs or whatever, so that they can come back to the community and support themselves and not be a burden to their families, and not be tempted to go back to some of the bad habits that maybe put them in prison in the first place.
Thank you very much, caller. You're watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV, and I'm Carolyn Day, a board member here at CAN TV. This is a live interactive show. You may call us at 312-738-1060. And today we have questions here for our Cook County President, Toni Preckwinkle. So we'd like to talk a little bit about the Fantas Clinic, the old Fantas Clinic.
Well, we talked earlier about the project that involves the rehabilitation and renovation of old Cook County Hospital. Mm-hmm. Well, we also had Fantas Clinic. Fantas Clinic was 60 years old, and just to the north of Stroger Hospital. But it seemed kind of a medieval place, and we wanted to provide our patients with first-rate care in a first-rate setting. And so we're building, and we hope to open in the fall, a new health center. It'll have 4 floors of clinic space, 1 floor of conference space, and then 4 floors of administrative space. So it's a 9-story building just to the south and east of Stroger Hospital. It'll be connected at several levels with walkways. But this will be a primary and specialty care facility. And as I said, it'll be a first-rate facility in which we deliver our first-rate care.
Great, thank you. Again, if you'd like to reach Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle, she may be reached at 118 North Clark Street at 312-603-5500, or cookcountyil.gov, or Twitter at Toni Preckwinkle. So is there anything you want to tell us a little bit about the perspective on this recently op-ed on the Sun-Times?
Well, I have been a strong proponent throughout my political career, when I was an alderman and now as county board president, for reasonable gun laws. And, we license in this state people who sell alcohol, people who sell cars, and I think we ought to license people who sell guns, so we can keep better track of their activities and be sure that they're obeying the law as they sell these dangerous items, frankly. And my understanding is the governor has said that he's going to veto the bill that was passed by the House and the Senate that would require licensing. So that's a big disappointment to me. And we have recently shared an op-ed piece that I did several years ago about this gun licensing bill.
Great, thank you. So we know that there are a lot of concerns coming up, and we just kind of want to see if there's anything pertinent that you just want to share with constituents of your own thoughts of what's happening in the county.
Well, we just released our budget forecast. It's not a budget, but it's a forecast. It shows an $82 million deficit that we have to close. When I started in 2010, we were looking at the budget for 2011, and we had a $487 million gap to close. So we're in much better shape. This is the smallest gap that we've had in the 7.5 years that I've been in office. But it's a real challenge because we've done all the easy things already, all the obvious things. And we've made a lot of structural changes. In the last budget cycle, we eliminated almost 1,000 funded positions. We laid off, unfortunately, hundreds of our county workers and made other structural changes that led us to have a balanced budget. But it's a challenge every year, and I know my staff, my budget staff, and our finance staff will be working hard to close that $82 million gap in a way that does least damage to the provision of services to the people of Cook County.
Great, thank you. There was a perspective on an incident at the Forest Preserve last month where a man is now being charged for a hate crime. You want to share any insight on that?
Well, first of all, this gentleman behaved in an appalling and abusive way toward a young woman who had a permit to use our Forest Preserve facilities. And I have called her to try to apologize. I've apologized publicly for the fact that one of our police officers stood by while this man behaved in a racist and abusive way. He's been charged. I'm grateful to the state's attorney for upping the charges to include a hate crime. The police officer in question, who stood by and just watched this incident unfold, faced a disciplinary hearing and resigned. You know, we've worked very hard over the last 7.5 years to make the forest preserves welcoming. I talked earlier about campgrounds, new campgrounds, and zip line courses, and efforts to bring more people into the forest preserves. And we want everybody to be welcome and to feel safe in our forest preserves. And unfortunately, this incident, troubling incident, I hope does not discourage people from coming to the preserves and enjoying them. Because as I said, we've made a great effort over the last 7.5 years to improve the quality of experience that people have there and to widen the kind of experiences that are available. And almost everything in the Forest Preserve is free. Our 5 nature centers, our hiking trails, our walking trails, our horseback riding trails. For a nominal fee, you can, in some of our forest preserves, you can rent boats, you can rent kayaks, you can rent canoes. There's a zip line course. For a modest fee, you can do that right here in Cook County. And as I said, our campgrounds are just beautiful, and many people, you know, go think of when they want to go camping, they think of, you know, going to Wisconsin or going to Michigan, and you can do that right here in Cook County. In our 5 campgrounds, you can be in a cabin, you can be in a tent, you can hook up your RV. It's great fun. I've taken my grandkids to 3 out of the 5 of the campgrounds, and they loved it.
Great. Well, that's good to know because people don't have to travel far.
That's right.
And they don't have to worry about being family friendly.
That's right. These are, our forest preserves are very family friendly, and as I said, almost everything in the preserves is free.
Great. So just before we got here, there was something in the news, and we just wanted to know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about the Department of Corrections reducing their population, jail population.
Sure.
Violent crimes.
Well, first of all, half of the county's budget is our healthcare system. So our health and hospital system, that's our clinics and our 2 hospitals, and our Medicaid expansion program called County Care, which serves 330,000 people, providing them with health insurance. So that's half of our budget. But 39% of our budget is public safety. So basically, 50 and 39 is 89. So 90% basically of our county expenditures are public health and public safety. And early on in my tenure, I got together the chief judge, the state's attorney, the public defender, the clerk of the court, and the sheriff, And we talked about how we could do things better in the public safety arena and how we would measure our progress. And everyone agreed that the thing we had to focus on was reducing the number of people accused of nonviolent crimes in the jail. Nonviolent crimes. So we're not talking about the things that keep you up at night, you know, the accused murderers, rapists. We're talking about people accused of drug offenses, of shoplifting, of prostitution, of not paying their child support, not paying their traffic tickets. So prior to this initiative, we had about 10 to 11,000 people in the jail. A lot of them were there accused of those kinds of crimes. So we've been working together since 2013 with all of the actors I just mentioned, all of the stakeholders. And we brought the jail population down by focusing on bond court and how people get treated in bond court from 10 to 11,000 on a daily average to less than 6,000. And it's come about because of the cooperation of our public defenders and state's attorneys, but mostly because when a defendant comes into the courtroom in bond court, they're much more likely now to be released on their own recognizance or electronic monitoring than getting a cash bond, because cash bonds were driving our jail population. Basically, our jails were full of poor people who couldn't pay their bonds. So we now have a situation where 2/3 of the people who come into the court get released on their own recognizance, that is, they're promised to show up for their hearings and trials, or electronic monitoring, and 1/3 get a cash bond. And that's a reverse of the situation 5 years ago when we had 10 to 11,000 people in the jail. And we have the same modest rates of people who don't show up for hearings or trials, or who pick up a new charge while they're waiting for the disposition of the old one. So we have tremendous compliance and a lot fewer people in the jail. And it's expensive to hold people in jail. It's $163 a day. So it's good for the individual who's accused but not convicted of the crime to be able to go to work, go to school, support their family. And it's good for the taxpayers not to pay to keep people in jail who are no danger to the community.
Great, thank you for sharing that information. Looks like we have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Hi, yes. I'm interested in knowing where this forest preserve is because I'm interested in the activities Mrs. Preckwinkle is talking about.
Well, the forest preserves are all over the county. 11% of our land is in the forest preserves. They're the far southeast side of the county, south, southwest, west, north, northwest. You can look at cookcountyil.gov and find out about the forest preserves. I also think if you go to www.Forest Preserve District of Cook County, FPDCC, you can find information about the forest preserves. And as I said, they're all over the county, and there's one close enough to you to have a 15 or 20 minute drive away, probably. So I hope you'll come out.
Thank you, caller. So there are a lot of young people. They're coming up soon is going to be their first time voting.
Right.
They may not know you. We all know you, but there are a lot of people that don't know you. So is there anything you want to say that you would want to encourage young soon-to-be voters?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I got through the primary in March, and there's no Republican opponent. So as long as I get up and vote for myself on election day, I'll be elected. But this is a really important election. If you look at where we are as a nation, you know, we've got a president of the United States who not only has no respect for women, but who makes racist, anti-immigrant, anti-Semitic statements, and represents, frankly, the worst of our country. And those of us who believe that he does represent the worst of our country, that we are in a nation that is strong because of our diversity and because of our inclusion, need to come out and vote on Election Day in November. We can't allow this vision of America to stand. We have to come out and say, look, this is not does not reflect the best of America, and we need to make some changes that reflect our values and our commitment to diversity and inclusion. So I think this November election is really important, and I hope people come out and support those candidates who express their views and their commitment to a country that is diverse and inclusive.
Great. We have another caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon. I wanted to ask the President, I understand that today there was a new Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership Job Center opening on the southwest side, and if you could tell us where it is and what it does, and how do you do that to increase jobs and opportunity for the residents of Cook County?
Well, thank you. You know, prior to my administration, the county had a President's Office of Employment and Training. It was called POET. And the city of Chicago had an employment training office called the Mayor's Office of Workforce Development, MOD. And Mayor Emanuel and I talked about ways in which the county and the city could cooperate and save money for everybody. And one of those ways was to combine our employment training efforts. So we now have the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, which is responsible for helping people who are looking for work and businesses that are looking for employees for the whole county, for the entire county. And so we have what we call job centers around the county. Today there was a grand opening of the job center in North Riverside, so we moved a location to a more appropriate space. And that facility will help people who are trying to get GEDs, they will help people prepare resumes, they will help people do job searches, they will provide vouchers for training for people. So everyone from young people 16 to 24 who are out of school and out of work or looking for work to senior citizens can go to one of our job centers and receive assistance and support and opportunities for training. So these are, and all of these services are free. It doesn't cost you anything. So as I said, it includes vouchers for training programs. So I encourage you to North Riverside is where this particular facility is open, but the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership is the entity that provides opportunities for people who are looking for work and support for businesses who are looking for employees. And again, cookcountyil.gov is our main website, and you can go there and work through, navigate that website and find information about the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership.
Great, thank you. So President Preckwinkle, thank you for appearing on Political Forum, and thank you, viewers, for your calls. And again, our technician this evening has been Sylvia, and Political Forum is brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. Please join us every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on CAN TV and cantv.org/hotline. So we thank you again.
Thank you very much, Carolyn, for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Welcome.